Hi everyone, welcome and welcome back to my channel. I hope you are doing well. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I make my male sims. I'm going to be making 3 male sims in this video. As you can see, the first one is on screen. But before I get to 4, please don't forget to subscribe and also like this video if you would like to see more, and also if you would like to help my channel out. But yes, let's get into today's video. I have been in a little bit of a building burnout, so I wanted to make sims this week. And so I decided to take on the challenge of making male sims. Now, usually when I make male sims, it takes me forever. For example, this male sim took me 1 hour and 38 minutes. So it is a little sped up. I didn't want to remove too much of my cast process because I wanted to show you guys how, this sim goes from being what we have in game usually, or what we start off in game with, to what I usually end off with. Usually I don't also have like any kind of idea. I just see where the custom content takes me most of the time. But what I will always do first is, which you would have seen in the beginning, is I'll remove their hair that they have on, and then I will change the features that I feel like are too exaggerated or does not suit them. So I will change the nose, the eyes, the lips, and sometimes I'll change their jaw, their cheeks, as well as their forehead. So if you didn't know, you can actually click on those things and it will bring up different categories, and you can actually find skin details or presets for those categories as well, which you would have seen when I went through those categories, and you'll see later on when I go through the other sims as well. So currently I am changing the lips. Now usually I try to find a preset that works. You can use sliders to adjust the lips, the eyes, the eyebrows, and I have a lot of sliders. So sliders are things that will allow you to pull and poke at those sections of the face more than the original EA sliders will allow. And sometimes the EA sliders don't even allow you to, for example, change the eyebrows or whatever. I can't remember which ones because I've had these sliders for so long that I actually don't know what I can't change or what is like not in the game itself. But yes, so I did actually write down a list of my tips and tricks for making male sims. So the first thing is, like I said, I'll remove the hair, then I will change their features that I do not think suits their character or whatever I'm going for in my head. And then I will just put on an eyebrow. Now, doesn't mean that eyebrow is going to be what they end up with, but just to give me like some idea. I feel like eyebrows are extremely important here. You can see I'm going in again and I'm changing his eyebrows. And so a lot of my eyebrows I actually get from, I think it may be Poya. I think I have a lot from Praline Sims. I have a few from Northern Siberia Winds, if I'm not mistaken. And I think I have from Sims as well, a lot of the eyebrows. And then once I've done those, oh yes, when it comes to features, I try not to change too much of their features. Usually I do change a lot of them, but the reason why recently I've been trying not to is because sometimes it helps with what is called same face syndrome, which, if you are familiar with this saying in the Sims community, for those that aren't, it's basically when your sims all start to have the same kind of look. And that is natural because sometimes there are features that you like more in game and so on, so you'll tend to gravitate towards using those features on a lot of your sims. And so I guess one way to prevent that is by trying not to change the features and then using skin details with what you already have, or just making the base sim that you used work. Now this he is a werewolf and his name here is Lu Hao. I think he's actually a townie, but I changed his name to Louis. So all of these sims will be linked on my Patreon if you would like to download them, and I will link to my Patreon in the description. But he's a werewolf, which is why I put the scars on his face and the scratches on his body as well. But anyways, returning to the tips, you would have seen that I also used alpha skins. Now you can get maxis match skins and then you can get alpha skins. Now for all 3 sims I think I used an alpha skin. Usually people will not use these skins, they'll swear it off because it's like kind of a very, it looks like a mask on their face, and Sometimes it does not look great. But what you can actually do is you can turn down the opacity of the alpha skin, and what it leaves behind is all the shadows, features, I guess you can say, of the alpha skin. And when you don't do that, actually you cannot put anything Max's Match on top of that skin, but when you do turn down the opacity, it will pick up different skin details that it wouldn't have picked up if you didn't turn down the opacity of the alpha skin. I hope that makes sense, but I am gonna do it again, so hopefully I'll catch that before, you know, I move on. But the next tip is that, so I used to follow the Sims creator on TikTok, and I don't think she makes Sims anymore, but she used to make the most delectable male Sims ever. And I was reading through her comments one day, and someone asked her, like, what is your biggest tip for making Sims? And her name was Sims Anastasia, and she said that our biggest tip is to make the male's eyes smaller. And ever since then I've been using that tip, and it just works. I think it's because it makes them look as if they are smoldering, or like, what's the other word? It makes them look more enticing for some reason. I don't know why, but I just like the smaller eyes, so I think that is one of my biggest tips. And then here you can see I've already moved into, you know, clothing him, but like I said, it did take an hour and 38 minutes. It's just the fact that this video is so sped up that it looks like it went really quick. But for his clothing, so for any male Sims, usually my go-tos for clothing is Rona Sims. Like, that creator is my favorite clothing creator for male Sims. Then I have another one. This one is Max's Match, and I have no idea how to say their name, but their name is Zoom New. I don't know, but I'll put the name and how you spell it on the screen. And then the other one is Ashwa and Tomio-chan. But I think for Ashwa and Tomio-chan, they keep their CC locked behind a paywall. However, it is very easy to find these creators who keep their CC locked behind paywalls, I promise you. And there's a lot of information about how you can find them on the internet, but those are my favorite creators as well. And then for his outfit, I was going for more of a rugged look because he is like a werewolf, and so I used the top by, I think it's by Aretha B or Ayub. I feel like the thumbnails look so similar that sometimes I confuse the two, but I think it is Aretha B. And then the nails that you saw me put on for him as well was from Aretha B. A lot of the jewelry that I use is from Praline Sims. Praline Sims is a really great creator for jewelry, and they release their jewelry collections in like huge bundles, so you can download them and get like 100 pieces of jewelry. I put these bandages on as well because, like I said, I was going for more of a rugged look. I think the idea is that maybe he does woodworking or whatever as a job or as a hobby that pays. And those gloves was from Natalia Auditor. If you're ever making fantasy Sims, that is such an amazing creator for fantasy Sims. They have the most insane things ever that you would not find if you were, or you would not have any use for, rather, if you were making normal Sims. So amazing. And then I used the dog collar. You would have seen that he had one from the game, but I just like this one from Praline Sims a little bit more. I can't remember where the bandana is from, but like I said, I will link, or I will include in the download all of the CC that I use for them. And then I'm also thinking of maybe making a list of CC as well that I used on these Sims, so that if you just want to grab specific pieces of the CC, then that list will be there on my Patreon as well. And then I was looking for a belt for him. One of my other biggest tips is for Sims in general is to find accessories that goes in other categories. So for example, in my rings I have belts, in my rings I also have jackets, and I have bags, and I have, what else, I have so many things in my rings. In my bracelets I also have gloves and jackets and bags and stuff, so that I can layer and put on different things on my Sims. Now, the only thing is that with the bags, for example, if you're putting them on rings, they will fly around in game. So that's one thing you have to take note of. But here is the photos that I took for him in game. I've really been into taking photos in game of the Sims that I make. Usually I would have taken them in CAS, like with a white background and stuff, but I think they look better on my Instagram, on my CAS Instagram, when I just take them in game. So those were his in-game photos. I love the way he turned out. So this one is the next Sim. I think is also a townie, and I'm actually right now trying to create more townies for eventually when I create a save file. I do not want these normal EA Sims in my backgrounds. And I also recently made like a machinima thingy, and I realized that all of the Sims around the Sims that I was making the little movie thingy on, they did not fit the aesthetic and they were kind of ruining the video. So I want to make Sims that I can, you know, place in the background and so on. And yeah, I have them fit the entire aesthetic of what I'm going for, essentially. But if you guys want to see any of those things, they are all on my Instagram, and I'll put my handle on the screen as well. I have one for my CAS, and then I have also one for my build, and then I also have a TikTok. But I'm currently contemplating whether I need to make a CAS TikTok and separate the two, because it can look a little bit messy when you have a lot of build content and then all of a sudden you have CAS content. But yeah, anyways, that's besides the point. So currently I am putting the skin details on Nox over here. So for Nox, I feel like he turned out, I really maintained the essence rather of his original Sim. I think I did that the most with him. He is a townie from Eco Lifestyle, I think, and I really got a skater boy vibe from him, so I was trying to go with that. And here you can see, oh yes, one more thing that I want to mention is for skin details, I think it's so important to get a CAS organizer. You can kind of see the little small blocks with the white and the purple that says either left mole, dimple, left dimple, right dimple, it says acne or whatever. Those are like CAS organizers or separators, so it tells you where a section starts and ends, because the skin details are actually separated into different sections, and in each section you can only use one skin detail. So it helps with layering, it helps with knowing which ones you've used already, whether there is a skin detail that you are able to use in that category. And then here you can see I'm changing the forehead as well. A lot of my forehead presets are from Northern Siberia Winds. A lot of my presets period, you can see there that's all from Northern Siberia Winds. I have a lot of mouth presets from Poya, not from Poya Poya, I think Sims is also one of them, and I think there may be some from Poya Poya. Obscurus is also another one of my favorites for skin details. But like I said also in the beginning, I like to find a preset that just works, because sometimes it can get a little bit, I feel like when you use the sliders and you're moving the mouth and the eyebrows and the eyes, the more you move it, the worse it gets. So I just try to find something that looks good originally. And also very important as well, I think contacts. So I have a lot of my contacts in the face paint category. I have some in my eyes. So like when you click on the Sims eyes, that section that you go to, I have a lot over there, but I don't like any of them. So I use a lot of my contacts from face paint. That does mean though that I can use nothing else from face paint usually when I have my contacts on, or when I put contacts on for my Sims. But I'm willing to make the sacrifice. A lot of my contacts are from Poya Poya, from Praline Sims, Northern Siberia Winds, and there's one that I really love using. That's from none of those creators that I just cannot remember which creator it's from. But yeah, it will be linked in the download for these Sims, because I definitely use them on at least two of the male Sims that I made today. And then yeah, I'm going in again and choosing my eyebrows. Something that I always go back to is hair and eyebrows. I change it so many times, but it's because I take so much things into account when I change the hairline. The fact that maybe I've made another Sim with this hair, or how they look very important. I don't mind using alpha A's, especially for my males. There's some alpha A's that I do love, but it's hard to find alpha A's that really work in game for male sims. So a lot of the times I have to use Max's Match, and sometimes they look great. I mean, a lot of the ones by Johnny Sims, for example, Johnny Sims is predominantly what I use for male sims. Their ears are always great, but there's other ears where you download them, you get in game, and then they look terrible. So it's kind of like hit and miss with other creators. But there's another two that I really love, but I think the one is Wistful Castle, and then there's another one that I just cannot remember at the moment which one they are that I use for male sims, but mostly Johnny Sims. And then I wanted to give him his piercings again that he had in the beginning. I actually really like this the stretchers earrings. They're from Eco Lifestyle, so I just put that back on him again. And then one thing I also do is, so in skin details you have your main skin details category, and then there's a category for forehead, eyes, cheeks, and mouth. And you can also put skin details in there. So for layering, it's perfect because sometimes there's like not enough sections in the original skin details, but you want to put something more on. So I like to make sure that I have skin details in those 4 other categories as well that I can layer with. And then also put on makeup for your male sims. You can find natural makeup like what I'm currently using. These are things that change the eyebrows, or not the eyebrows, the eyelids. You can find ones that changes the lip color so that it looks more realistic. There's obviously, males have blush as well in their face, like natural blushing, so make sure you're putting that on. And also tan, or not tan, but like shadows on their face, or contour. You can also find those for male sims. I have one from Northern Siberia Winds that I use a lot. And yeah, so I wanted to obviously give him a beanie because he had that in his original character. Some of the photos that I did do for him was without his beanie though, because like I said, I got a skater boy vibe from him. So I found poses with a skateboard. The skateboard, however, was in hats, so I had to take off his cap or his beanie for some of his photos, which you'll see at the end. Then for shoes, I have like 5 shoes for males that I use in the rotation. I find sometimes that male shoes are too small for, what I like on my male sims. So for example, you can see there I have a lot of shoes by Jius, Jius. However, I just find that their male shoes are a little bit too small, so I don't usually use them for my males. I use them a lot for my females, but not for the males. So they just sit there. If you know of another creator that makes really good male shoes, please let me know, because I cannot have a situation in which all of my male sims are wearing the same 5 pairs of shoes. And then this is the creator that I was speaking about that I don't know how to say the name of. They have such amazing Max's Match items for males, and they release it like in huge collections. I would say like you get a lot in a certain collection, so definitely check them out if you're looking for more male CC. And then I think for the most part I am finished with him right now. I'm gonna apply this nail polish from Aretha B. It's literally one of my favorites to put on more grungy males. And then I think this hair is from Johnny Sims as well. So yeah, I'm just going back again, checking that I've used all of the sections for my skin details. I never leave a section out, or I rarely leave a section out. There was just something about, where his cheeks are, like the section between his eyes and his lips. It was just too clear for me. I feel like I needed something extra, so that's what I'm looking for currently. I'm looking for something that I can kind of place in there that makes it look a little bit realistic. And so yeah, I found the skin by Poya. I think the skin is by, I could be wrong, and that is the alpha skins that I was speaking about. where you put it on, it looks like a mask, but then you turn down the opacity and it just leaves behind the features and the shadows on the face. I definitely think it added something to the face, maybe like a subtle change, but a change nevertheless. And then that is my favorite, eye contacts. I just love how dark and mysterious they look. So I didn't catch the creator's name now, but that is the contacts that I use for most of my Sims. And then we've moved on to the final one. So actually for Nox, I made him twice, so this is the second time that you would have seen me making him, because I did not like how he turned out the first time. And then for Riku, I made another Sim before him, and he turned out exactly like a Sim that I previously made. I think I used the same base Sim and I didn't change the features a lot, like I said, and he turned out to be exactly like a previous Sim. So I scrapped him and I made Riku. Well, he was in dire need of a makeover. You would have seen in the beginning. I think I took a picture of what he was wearing before, so maybe I'll show you guys what he was prancing around in, or prancing around in my game. And yeah, he just looked terrible. So I was like, I need to give you a makeover like immediately. And so usually you can see that I am not like fixed to any kind of skin detail. I choose every one of them that I think may work, and then whatever turns out to be better, I will choose that one. And then you can see I have a lot of Northern Siberia winds skins as well, and other skin details. They are really great for skin details, and a lot of their Maxis Match skin details are just so pretty as well. And then I do want to mention that if you download any of my Sims, or especially if you're downloading more than one of my Sims, I do have other Sims on my Patreon as well. Just note that I do use a lot of the same skin details and presets and stuff on them, so there will be duplicates. The folders that I upload for you to download are like organized, so you can sort them a lot quicker and see if there are duplicates. So yeah, just for the sake of not, taking up too much space or having duplicates in your game, just make sure you check that. And then I use a lot of nose masks as well. You can see there where all of my nose masks are from. It's from Obscurus, Poya Poya, Peachy Fairy as well. And then I also, so for him, one thing that I did struggle with, which you'll see at the end, is outfit. I think I changed his outfit like 3 times because I wanted him to be more preppy and college boy, because that's what in my mind he is for the Sim. I don't know if I'll actually play with him like that, but that is what he is in my mind. And then, oh yes, very, very, very important, get a hairline. Even if you are just using EA hairs, and you can download mods in CC, please get your summer hairline. Oh, their hairlines are so far back for EA hairs, and sometimes for some Maxis Matches as well, like CC hairs, the hairline is so far back that it just doesn't look normal. So usually I will use, especially this hairline, if I'm using a Maxis Match hair, because it is Maxis Match. I think it's from Ria Sims, if I'm not mistaken. I could be making that up, but it will be included in the download as well as in the master list if I have the time to make it, but I think I will have the time to make it. And then you would have seen that I put an alpha skin on him again. That one is from Northern Siberia Winds, and I then turned down the opacity and he maintained the shadows and the features and stuff. I just love it. I recently learned this tip though. I think it was from, I was watching Miss Lollipop Sims in a live, and someone mentioned that in the comments or something like that. They were like, use alpha skins but turn the opacity down, and ever since then I've been doing that. But, or usually I would have just like in the past like leave the alpha skin the way that it was, and honestly I don't think it looked that great, but now this is what I do. I turn them down, or I would have just used Maxis Match skins. And then yeah, his hair also I changed like thrice. This hair I've used before on a previous Sim. I didn't want to use it again on him, so that's why I go in and I change his hair again. And then I love this like stubble, this beard stubble. I use it on a lot of my Sims. I can't remember who it's from though, but I just love it because it's realistic. You know, men don't have smooth chins. They usually will have a little bit of stubble, so that's what I used on his chin over there. And I also think it shapes the chin a little bit more. And then this is the contour or blush that I was speaking about, I guess, in, you know, earlier in this video as well, from Northern Siberia Winds, that just gives the face a little bit of shadow. And you can kind of see now I'm in that subcategories for so the skin details is the first or the second bubble, and then the fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh and eighth bubble is the other categories that I was speaking about, that you could also have skin details in for layering. And there you see I'm using my favorite contacts again. There's just something about them that I just personally love, and I wanted to give him more texture on his skin, so I have some of those things in my blush. That one from is it Koppelsims now, or Koppelsmeer, something like that. I'll put the spelling for their name on the screen, but they have a lot of, you know, blush for males and stuff, so I like using them if I am making a male sim, just to add some color to the face. And then also eyelashes, don't forget to put eyelashes on your males. But sometimes, you know, with the eyelashes that I download for many of my female sims, you can use them for males, but they kind of have like a makeup eyelash look. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I guess it does make some sense. There are other eyelashes that are a little bit more subtle. The ones that I use for him right now, I think, is from either Northern Siberia Winds or from Poya Poya. And then I wanted to give him glasses to go with his preppy look. This is my favorite glasses. They are from Praline Sims. I use them a lot. And then also, it is mandatory that every male sim in my save file or potential save file have tattoos. So each one of them gets a tattoo. So that's what I'm doing currently. I don't know, but since the update, right, for businesses and hobbies, I can't take tattoos off my male sims in that specific category. You know, they split it into left leg, right leg, back, chest, lower back, whatever. I can't take it off by canceling it in that category or taking it off in that category. I have to take off everything that I applied tattoos for to come off. I don't know, maybe if it's a mod that's doing that, or if it is since the update that it's doing that, but yeah, it's really frustrating. And then here you can see the outfit. I like this one a lot more than the one that I previously had. But this is where I'm going to end the voiceover. I hope that this video has been helpful, whether it be some of the tips and tricks that I sprinkled in here and there, or the creators' names. I hope that, you know, the next time you make a sim, it won't be as daunting. And if there's anything else you would like to know, you can drop it in the comments and I can either answer you there or make another video. Let me know which one was your favorite. And as I said before, I will link to my Patreon in the description, so that if you want to download any of these sims, you can. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. And here are some photos of this last one. I had so many, I couldn't really choose. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will chat to you in the next one. Bye bye.